is Mary Ann Davidson. Hey, Mary Ann.
Howdy. I think I turned my camera on. Can you see it?
Yep, here you come. There you are.
Now, I asked for the airbrush option. Now, come on here. No.
Okay, Mary Ann, so why don't you give us an introduction and tell us about some of your top priorities.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't need, you all can read the screen. You don't need to see my street creds. Well, first of all, I do want to thank you and Candace and also my colleagues who have already spoken, not only because of their eloquence, but just the pleasure of serving with such a wonderful, diverse group of people at different backgrounds and different perspectives, and what they bring to this association, which is really important. And that kind of goes back to priorities. It's sort of one of the things I think is important, a lot of these things have been alluded to by others, is this notion of a brand. Now that sounds like, slimy marketing 101, but it really isn't. Why is that important? Well, first of all, no man or woman is an island. A lot of people, unless you happen to work in a humongous organization with a zillion security people, you might just be one of 2 or 3 or 4 people or a small team in an organization where that's not their main focus. So being able to pick the brains and commune with other security professionals is absolutely critical. And I'll give you one very small example. Now, I work at a big tech company, great company, but I remember going to an ISSA event and hearing one of the speakers, who's very well known in our industry, and this was a few years ago, before MLAI. I knew I'd say it properly eventually. Has now gotten lots of publicity, but he was talking about this a few years ago. And the things that he was saying about the security specific risks set my brain on fire. Really, I got so much out of that. Just one talk at one ISSA event. So, of course, this has come up in our business. And I remember having a discussion not only with my boss, but one of the board members. And it's not that I haven't done any studying since then, but so much of what I got was from one person at one ISSA event. And that just really helped enrich my knowledge base, something I really didn't have any knowledge of. This is fantastic. The other thing I think is really important in terms of priority is so branding to me is a recognized voice in the industry. And part of this that I think is very important is the practitioner voice. Why is that Why does that matter? Because we have all this regulatory stuff coming down the pike. No matter one industry, everybody has a tech basis now. And so many of the regulatory apparatus are now pushing cybersecurity regulations. Regulation isn't necessarily a bad thing, but as a lot of us have experienced, even in other parts of our lives, sometimes the people writing the regulations, as well intended as they are, don't have the subject matter expertise to do a good job of it. So you end up with, unfortunate yet unintended consequences, which sounds better than what the heck were they smoking when they came up with this. And it matters particularly in cyber because it's not like we're just bursting with tons and tons of people. We're not. So being able to say, well, if I've only got 5 people, I want to put them on avoiding the worst problems or remediating the worst challenges with those resources. That resource optimization, you can't always hire more people. If you can find them, you can't always hire them. So being able to do our jobs better instead of checking a bunch of boxes, some of which may not matter, is really important. And when I see these regulations being written, the voice that is missing is the practitioner voice. So somebody's in the trenches saying, I hear what you're saying, I've struggled with that issue, and finding ways to capture that. And I've seen this in another association of which I was a member. When it started, 20 years ago, small group, now they're much bigger, and they have much more presence in using their voice as a respected voice in security. And that's, in their particular market niche, and that's really important. So that's what I would like to see ISSA morph towards. It's being able to collude better with our colleagues, and not only the learning opportunities, but in a way, it's helping us carry the burdens that we have, and learning from others, and also taking this collective knowledge base. Somebody's in the trenches, and they've done this work, and they've struggled with these things. Being able to inform regulatory folks saying, here's how you get to better in a way that will actually achieve better, and it won't have these unfortunate and unintended consequences. That is absolutely critical, because I don't see the cyber problems going away anytime soon, and I sure don't think we're going to have enough people to deal with this until we fix some of the root causes of this. It's not just about let's regulate more. So that goes back to other things that colleagues have mentioned, such as working with people in the universities and helping to draw people in. And I would also add on a personal note, getting them to fix their curricula, because you have people graduating from universities. This is why I have job security. Great, talented, wonderful computer science people, data scientists, technical term follows. They don't know jack about actually security. How do I write good code? How do I engineer systems to be resilient? Data scientists, again, I respect the field, but they don't think about the consequences of how would somebody taint your data set and end up with a biased result. They don't think like that. So we need to change the mindset of people who use this technology so that security becomes a cultural norm. And we can do that. We can help make it happen.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your vision for the future of ISSA International.
Well, I think that's part of it. I've kind of merged these things, but I think being a recognized voice in the industry, and others have alluded to this, where someone says, I'd like, what does ISSA think about that? Or let's refer to ISSA materials on such and such a subject. And we have lots and lots of talented people. So that's part of it, is a stronger outward facing, brand, presence. Brand, again, kind of gets misused as a marketing term, but it means people think of us as the organization to go to understand some of these complexities. And the other part of it, I do think, kind of the grassroots level, the foundation is definitely the chapters. So the more that we can do on a bunch of levels to, help struggling chapters, whether it's financial or speaker assistance or whatever that is, that's the bread and butter. Like, as I said, no man is an island. I think a poet said that, might have been John Donne, I can't quite remember. I was an engineering major, not an English major. But I think that's absolutely true, and we're all in it together, and that's part of being a successful organization. You're only as strong as you are.
So one final question: if you had to pick one most important thing for us to improve at ISSA, what would that be?
That's an interesting question. I do think that when people are talking about financial resiliency, that's pretty critical underpinning. It's you want to feel like you're on a solid footing, and that is enabling for you to achieve your vision. If you don't have that, that's going to be very difficult. So part of that is, value add, making sure that we add value for our chapters, and also helping ensure they are on a strong financial footing. Because otherwise, it's like, well, I can't get a sponsor. Well, I can't have this meeting. I can't really have this speaker come in. That kind of thing, and that just really diminishes the ability of people to promote the comradeship and the collective good without that strong foundation.
Excellent. Well, Marianne, thank you very much. We have a few minutes for questions, if there are any for Marianne. And as with all the candidates, if you want to get a hold of Marianne and can't find her ISSA email online, you can just reach out to me and I will connect you with her.